Welcome to part 2 of creating a professional CSGO movie making config. If you did not watch part 1 first, please stop what you're doing and go watch part 1. I'll link it down in the description below. All right, let's get started. All right, make sure you have Half-Life Advanced Effects installed and make sure you're using that to make movies with. If you're not using Half-Life Advanced Effects, a lot of these commands won't work. Okay, a few maintenance things that I forgot about last time. Let's scroll on up here, folks. All right, do you remember that command that I told you to put in merv fix player animus state 1? I told you to add an extra little underscore here. That is incorrect. Delete that, and now it is the correct command. That's entirely my fault. The next command that I'm going to have you add to this is up here. Press enter, type in demo index 1. This basically lets you skip through the demo without any delay, without any lag. It's great. I love it. All right. Hit enter down here at the bottom. So let's do the double slash, type in merv underscore settings. Hit enter. First command we want to type in merv underscore fob, and we want to type default. This basically resets your zoom in CSGO. Now the next one, and this works in conjunction with merv fob default, merv fob handle zoom enabled 1. Basically what this does is it kind of fixes any issues that you might have when you zoom in with the ALP. These next couple of commands will set the depth message settings. Merv underscore depth MSG highlight ID 0. You can imagine what this does. It basically removes that red border around everything. Really annoying, and I hate it, and you should too. All right, let's move on. Merv depth MSG debug 1. This basically gives you the information you need to customize your kill feed, but you won't need to do that manually because I'll show you a really easy way to do that automatically. All right, next one, merv def MSG. Type in CFG, and then we're gonna type in notice lifetime, and we'll type in 60. I'm sure you probably guessed what this does. It'll basically set how long a kill stays up on the kill feed before fading out. I've got it set to 60 seconds. You can basically customize it to whatever you want. Okay, this next one, merv campath draw key index 15. You know those very large numbers that show up when you make a campath anchor point? It's almost ridiculous the size that they are. Well, this lets you customize how big those numbers are. The smaller the number, the smaller the font size. Bigger the number, the bigger the font size. Try out 15, see if you like it. If you don't, try a different number then. Okay, next one, merv game overlay enabled 0. This one's mostly for people who use start movie. This basically prevents the pop-ups that occur when you're playing and a friend comes online. It prevents those pop-ups from showing up in your recording, okay? Those commands out of the way, let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to the streams, huh? All right, type in merv streams, record, mat, force, tone, map, scale, 1.1. This command, super important. You know that weird coloring that occurs at the beginning of each round? Well, this basically gets rid of it. It normalizes the colors, it normalizes the lighting, so you don't get that weird gray bloom appearance whenever a round starts, all right? All right, next one. Merv streams, record, start movie wave 1. Okay, super simple. It records the audio when you record a video. Okay, next one, merv streams, record, name, quotations, and then basically what you want to do is you want to put in your file path. What this does is it dictates to Half-Life Advanced Effects where it records to, okay? So instead of its default location, which I think is the CSGO folder, it can record wherever you want. You can change this to the D drive if you have one, and we can call it movie making. You can you can basically do whatever you want, okay? Even more fun stuff. Let's get to creating streams now, all right? Merv streams add base effects, and then name goes here. Let's call it base though. Pretty easy. This makes a base effect stream. And base effect streams are the most important streams, okay? They're the ones that allow you to edit them so you can do all these cool effects that I'm gonna show you right now. Cool, next one. Merv streams edit base draw HUD space 1. This basically tells Half-Life Advanced Effects to draw the HUD on the base stream. If you don't want the HUD or the kill feed on your base effect stream, put it to 0. We're gonna keep it at 1 though. Okay, next one, merv underscore streams, edit, base, action filter, add, effects, slash, flashbang, space, no draw. What this does is it removes that flash that occurs when a flashbang goes off. There's actually another command you wanna put in, merv underscore streams, edit, base, action filter, add, effects, slash, flashbang, underscore white, space, no draw. Okay, again, this helps with not drawing that flashbang effect that occurs on your screen when a flashbang goes off. Very important different commands for that. Another command that I suggest putting on: merv streams edit base sticker action space no draw. I personally don't like stickers on the gun. I think they look ugly, and I think they look gaudy, and I think they're a distraction at times, especially if you have like those hologram ones that change colors sometimes. I would suggest turning this off. If you want stickers to show up on your guns in the game, keep this command out of your config. Next one, merv streams edit base stat track action no draw. Pretty obvious command what this does. This removes the stat track counter that shows up on guns. It's just really distracting. Anything that's distracting, that takes away from the viewer experience, I suggest removing from the game. And so that is what I did. All right, here's one that I get asked a lot. Merv streams edit base action filter add x quotations name equal models slash weapons slash UID slash both forward and backward asterisk quotation space quotations action equals no draw. This one removes the name tag that shows up on guns. A lot of people don't do it these days, but sometimes you get those names and they might not be appropriate. You probably want to remove them sometimes, right? Well, this command will help you do that. Okay, next one, merv streams edit base action filter add decals slash player logo slash asterisk no draw. I made this one a long time ago. What I think it does is it removes the graffiti that players can spray on the ground. I would suggest putting that in if you want your CSGO map to look a little cleaner. All right, next one. This is a little longer one. Merv underscore streams edit base action filter add quotations particle slash particle underscore flares slash particle underscore flare underscore gray quotations no draw. This one's super important in my opinion. The most annoying part of Counter-Strike is when like that gray overlay pops up on your screen when you get shot. Super annoying and it looks super ugly. This removes that. All right, I highly suggest putting it in. Makes it a little cleaner. All right, cool. After that, we want to put in the command merv streams preview base. And what that does is that automatically lets you preview how your recording is going to look. I personally like seeing what I'm going to be recording. Okay, I don't want it to be surprising that, you know, my Counter-Strike that I'm looking at and creating cam paths and scenes in looks different than the recorded footage. So all of this stuff gets automatically created as soon as you exec your CFG, because you're always going to be creating a base effects stream. You're always going to be recording one. So there's no reason to not automatically create it as soon as you exec your config. This next command, I've talked about this plenty of times. I've got an FFmpeg tutorial. I've got an entire merv stream tutorial that I go into depth about all this stuff. This basically creates a recording profile that you then assign to your base effects stream that makes Half-Life Advanced Effects record all the footage as an AVI instead of TGAs. All right, so it's merv stream settings add FFmpeg, and then your name goes here. Okay, I have EO2K19. Obviously, you want to do quotations -V codec space. I use Huff YUV as my codec. You can use other codecs, but I suggest using Huff because it's lossless. It reduces the file size, but also it maintains quality. All right, I've got a whole tutorial that teaches you how to install the Huff codec and how to go about making sure that this runs smoothly. You can check that out in the description down below. But let's continue on. Space -A codec. We want none because we don't want to compress the audio. Okay, space curly bracket quote close curly bracket AFX underscore stream underscore path curly bracket / video.avi curly bracket quote curly bracket quotations. All right, we just made a recording profile with that command. Now let's set that recording profile to our stream, to our base effects stream. That's what this command, merv underscore streams edit base settings, and then this name that you put in up here. So for me it would be EO2K19, but whatever name you put there would go here. All right, so we just set up all of the merv stream commands. We can now move on. Let's talk about aliases. Okay, aliases are so cool. So let's do /merv aliases. Okay, so in programming, say you want to execute 3 commands, right? Well, normally you would type in the command line 1 and then command line 2 and then command line 3, right? All manually, and it's really annoying and it takes a lot of time. Well, with aliases, you can actually make a symbolic name and that'll execute all 3 commands at once. Okay, so alias 3 commands, and what it'll do is it will execute all 3 of these commands automatically, and you won't have to do it manually and type them in one by one, okay? So cool, now that we know what aliases do, let's create a few aliases, okay, for Counter-Strike. First alias we want to set up is alias set frame rate, okay? And what we want this alias to do is to set the host frame rate, okay? So let's type in host frame rate, and then put whatever number you want to record at. I record at 1800 FPS, but you're going to put in whatever you want to record at. You can record at 600. Some people even record at 30. I don't suggest that, but you do you. So now every time we call upon set frame rate, it's going to enact this command. So can you see how it acts as like a stand-in for another command or for a group of commands? All right, our next one is going to be alias, and I call this death note. And then it's this long command, all right? Quotations, merv underscore death message, space filter, space clear, and then this is important, semicolon, merv underscore death message, filter, add, and then I'm not going to bore you with saying all this stuff. There's a lot of symbols here. Read this over, put it in. I'll wait. Go on. Or you can pause it. Okay, you unpaused it, right? Okay, so what this alias does is when you're in a demo, go to the POV of the player that you want to record the frags of and the player that you want to isolate the kill feed for, right? And then what you do is you type in death note, and what it'll do is for the POV that you're currently in, it will isolate and it will localize the kill feed to only show their kills or their deaths. All right, next one, alias clear DM, okay? This is another very convenient command. What this alias does is it basically just clears out all the death message commands that you put in, okay? So you start new. Next, super convenient command that I like to use. If you've seen me stream, you've seen me type in C underscore print a lot. Well, C underscore print puts in the command merv underscore campath print. Isn't it a lot easier to type in just C underscore print instead of typing in merv underscore campath print every time? Next command that I really like, alias C underscore add. You can imagine where this is going. Quotations, merv underscore campath space add, okay? Basically adds an anchor point, all right? So instead of having to type in merv underscore campath add, I just type in C add in the console. To also point out, all of these things could be done with bind. You could set up a lot of binds on your keyboard and call the day like that. Aliases are just like another way to do bind, except you type the bind instead of pressing a key for it, okay? All right, another one, alias C enable, quotations, merv underscore campath, space enable, space one. All right, this basically enables the campath. And then the antithesis of that is alias C underscore disable, and this disables the campath, all right? So it doesn't play. Okay, these next three aliases all work together, so I'm gonna lay them all out for you right off the bat. We have an alias called cdraw, and basically what alias cdraw does is it enacts something called cdraw on. Now, what's cdraw on? Well, cdraw on is an alias that enacts merv campath draw enabled 1, and then it immediately changes the alias cdraw to be cdraw off. And then what's cdraw off, you ask? Well, it's an alias that basically undraws the campath and immediately sets cdraw to cdraw on. Now, what does all of that do? Well, it basically creates a toggle bind or a toggle alias. So all you have to do is type cdraw, and it'll alternate between drawing on and drawing off the campath. The next alias S underscore print. What this does is it basically prints stream. With the new print option, you can change this to merv streams print 2 if you'd like. Okay, this is my favorite alias space C underscore cam, merv input camera. Basically sends you into merv input camera mode so you can fly around the map. Okay, next alias space set volume 0.25. And then what you want to do is enact set volume. Basically what this does is it turns down the volume in Counter-Strike because it's so loud. So whenever I'm just like creating my scene, I want the volume to be pretty low. The next alias, set recording volume 0.75. Okay, this basically raises the volume up a little higher when I'm recording, and after I'm done recording, it'll lower it. And I'll show you how these three things work in conjunction in the binding section, which is next. Okay, we're done with the aliases. Let's go to the key bindings now. That's the fun part. All right, key bindings, my favorite thing. Who doesn't like a good key binding, all right? It's pretty easy. You basically bind a command to a specific key, or you can bind an alias to a specific key, okay? So a key can act a bunch of different commands. First key binding that I like and I use a lot. Bind space F9 space demo underscore toggle pause. I have my function 9, my F9 key bound to pausing and unpausing the demo. Next, bind I host timescale 10. So what this does is it makes I basically a fast forward key. It changes the host timescale to 10, which fast forwards the demo to 10 times speed. The next logical one is binding O to host timescale 1, which basically makes the demo play at normal speed. And then the logical conclusion is bind P space host timescale 0.1, which basically plays the demo at 10% speed. Okay, my next favorite command, bind B death note. Okay, and if you remember correctly, let's come up here to the aliases. Death note sets that death message filter to basically show only the kill feed for the player you're observing. All right, we talked about key bindings. Let's talk about bind toggles. All right, who doesn't like a good bind toggle? The most important bind toggle you could use is bind toggle, and then your key goes here. I have it bound to NCL underscore draw underscore only underscore death notices. Okay, basically what that does is it hides the HUD and only shows your kill feed and your crosshair. Very helpful. I love it. I use it all the time. Now let's get on to the recording binds. All right, that's the most important binds we could have right now, right? So first recording bind, I have it bound to F3 function 3. Stick with me, we'll go through all of them. Quotations, set recording volume. Basically what I do with this first command, I set my volume to 0.75 because, as you know, the volume when I'm not recording is set to 0.25, right? But when I record, I want to set it to 0.75. So that's the first thing it does, is it sets the volume for recording. And then semicolon, that's important. Always put a semicolon in between all of these commands. It changes the host timescale to 0. Now, host timescale 0 basically makes the demo play smoothly. Basically prevents it from lagging and being jittery. Semicolon, set frame rate. Now, do you remember the alias set frame rate we put? Well, we come up here. If we read set frame rate, it's at host frame rate 30. Let's change that. Let's change it to let's go back to 1800 because we want some 60 blended frames. All right. Semicolon, merv underscore SND underscore timescale 1. So because we set host timescale to 0, this allows the sound of Counter-Strike to still play normally. It allows CSGO sound to work independently of the timescale. Super technical and a lot of jargon that really probably doesn't matter, but just know that it's important. All right, merv streams record start. We start the recording, semicolon. And I also have demo underscore resume. Whenever I hit the record, I want the demo to start playing, right? I mean, you don't want to really record a paused demo unless you do. Maybe you do, so you probably want to remove this, but I always like the demo to start playing as soon as I hit the record button. Next important bind. Let's stop it, all right? Let's stop the recording and let's revert Counter-Strike back to a more normal sort of setting so we can watch the rest of the demo. Bind F4, quotations, merv streams record end. We stop the recording, right? As soon as we stop the recording, we also want to set host timescale back to 1 because we want the demo to play at normal speed. Semicolon, merv SND timescale default. So because we set host timescale back to 1, we can now change merv SND timescale back to its default setting, which then reacts according to what host timescale is set to, okay? To give you an example how merv SND timescale default works, if we were to hit our I bind, which sets host timescale to 10, which basically fast forwards everything, the sound will sound pitched up and sound like it's fast forwarded, okay? All right, our next one, host frame rate 0, okay? So this basically reverts this command to 0, and what that does is it basically just lets your computer set the frame rate, okay? So if your computer's really good, you're probably gonna get like 400 FPS when you're watching a demo. Then the next command, set volume. Okay, if you remember, we come up here, set volume is an alias that sets the volume to 0.25. Set recording volume sets it to 0.75. Set volume sets it to 0.25. Two different volume levels for two different scenarios. As you can see, there's an end movie command here when I hit F4, right? What's that for? If I'm using streams to record with, why do I need end movie? Well, I'll show you in a second. All right, and the last one here, demo underscore pause. So I have demo underscore pause here at the end after I'm done recording because usually I minimize CSGO, right? I usually go in, I take a look and start editing my clip that I just recorded. Well, I don't want the demo to keep playing because then I'll have that sound playing and then I'll have to worry about like rewinding a lot. I have that in there because I just like it to, you know, to stop and sit still while I go and do my thing. Next bind. I'm going to tell you why I have end movie in here. Bind F6. Basically what this does is it just records sound. Say I'm editing a clip and I realize, oh, for some reason I accidentally deleted my audio. Well, I can go back, play the demo, and I can hit F6 instead of having to record the video too. All it does is just records the audio and I have a clean version of that, okay? So merv SND timescale 1, and the next one, start movie IGS wave. So this is, you put your name in here, okay? I just have IGS for in-game sound, and then wave is just the format that it's going to record to. And then set recording volume alias, which sets the recording volume 2.75. When I want to end that recording of the audio, I hit F4 because F4 has the command end movie in there, okay? So that's why end movie was up here, because F6 exists. I don't use that too much, but it's there just in case. Okay, and the last one, bind F7. Demo UI. Okay, F7 just opens the demo interface. You can obviously change that to whatever's more convenient, but I have it set to F7. Last important step is, where do we put this? Now that we created one, where does this file go? Navigate to wherever your Steam folder is. Go to Steam Apps, Common, Global Offensive, CSGO, and go to your CFG folder. And I just drop it right in there. And then make sure you right click on it, go to Properties, and set it to read only, so nothing gets overwritten, okay? Say you don't want to put it in the CSGO CFG folder, right? Say you want to make your own folder for where Half-Life Advanced Effects goes to read CFGs. Well, you can go wherever you want. Let's go to our H drive here, all right? So basically what you want to do is you want to make a new folder, type in CFG, and then basically what you want to do is you want to drop your movie making config right into that CFG folder. And then go to Half-Life Advanced Effects, hit File, Launch CSGO, click this button here, movie making config parent folder, go to Browse, and then let's browse to that H drive, okay? It'll search this file path for a folder called CFG. Okay, so you don't actually put in HCFG, right? You just put in the file path of where the folder CFG is. All right, then you launch CSGO. All right, now that we're in CSGO, type in exec and then type in movie making and then type in enter. Our config just exec and we're ready to record, okay? Beautiful. Okay, folks. Whew. That was it. That's all there is to it. You basically just got an inside look at how all the Echoes movies are created. This is basically almost line for line our Echoes of 2019, Echoes of 2017, and Echoes of 2016 config. Listen, I hope that helped. I hope you learned a lot. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know down below. And before I go, I want to thank my executive producers, Kerza, Speedsword, and Dustyy. You guys rock. And also shout out to Icy. You're the best. I appreciate all the support you guys offer me. If you want to support me on Patreon, there's a link down below where I offer really great benefits for editors that are just getting into the scene and want some personalized help on how to make a frag movie. Again, hope this helped, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.